All right, what is up, everybody? Have we got a boom? And right in line, just how Q said on the 26th, the next few weeks will demonstrate our resolve. Holy freaking crap. Ghislaine Maxwell finally arrested. Some speculate, and I can really see this, that she might actually be worse than Epstein. This kind of seems, the more you look into it, that she might have actually been his handler, and she's the one that brought him in. Her father is notoriously Mossad, and she is in FBI custody. It says Miss Maxwell was accused of helping Mr. Epstein recruit, groom, and sexually abuse girls, one as young as 14. The girl was 14 years old when she met financier Jeffrey Epstein and his companion Ghislaine Maxwell in the 90s. They tried to become her friend, taking her to shopping and to the movies. And all this, this is a familiar story that goes with a lot of them. And they were grooming this. They groomed the 14-year-old. They groomed several 14-year-olds, as it seems to turn out. And, I wouldn't be surprised if younger. But isn't it something that Jeffrey Berman, who was, totally always trying to go after Trump, and this is the prosecutor in the Southern District of New York, that they finally friggin' basically fired him, and right as after that happens, she gets arrested. So this is the guy, people cheer for him like, oh yeah, he's going against Trump. But these are the people, then those same people, when Ghislaine Maxwell gets arrested, or back when Jeffrey Epstein, they're like, yeah, they try to like turn that on Donald Trump. And they're like they pretend to be happy. They don't care about Epstein or Maxwell or anything. They just hope somehow that those pictures of them with Trump in the 90s can somehow sink Trump, and this is going to get to Trump. Or else they would hate this guy. They were mad that he pushed him out of office. But meanwhile, this is guy who was clearly the roadblock in all of this. And right after that happens, guess who is brought in finally? And this was, wow. I mean, that is the boom we freaking needed. And it has been pretty much a boom week. I mean, here is Chaz or Chop or whatever finally getting shut down. And they're just storming this place. Oh, man, that's great. I heard they rounded up a lot of people, too. And you know what? I got to say, I am glad that they let this play out. I know a lot of people wanted them to go in right away. Sometimes there is no right answer. Let's be honest here. There's no, it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And I'm glad people needed to see this play out. First of all, if you're on the chat side, right, you keep saying, yeah, we want to do autonomous and we want to do all this stuff and we could do it without cops. And you want to prove that this is something you're all working towards. You want to collapse the country. They're ripping down everything they can possibly, and you're trying to prove that, this is a better way. This is a better way. Well, all you did was tag everything up, smash it to the ground, turn everything into garbage. I mean, this is a terrible representation. Inside of a couple weeks, people were shot and killed. And just optics alone, man, they destroyed this place. How could you have, that's not civilized. That's like animals. You want to what? Like, this is what you're trying to sell to people? This is what you're trying to sell to left-wing voters? That if you guys are in charge, you're going to literally live like dirtbags and smash everything to bits? I mean, just look at this. Look at what happened. This is in Portland right here. This is what Portland looks like right now. I mean, look at this, dude. This is disgusting. This is embarrassing. They think this is good. This is like progress, I guess. All this is doing is turning people on their side away. I mean, how many people on their side are looking at this and going, "Oh crap, I don't support this." I mean, a lot of them, they still do support it because they don't know what they like. They're just being told that this is what everyone's doing now, so now they love this. But I mean, there's a lot of normal ass people who are starting to realize, like, oh crap, no, screw this. I mean, look at this. This is just disgusting, man. But again, what a friggin' huge week so far. I mean, and this almost seems minor now, getting this whole, watching this chop just implode and just prove everyone right. Everyone said it was a freaking disaster from day one, and that this whole movement, their whole movement is a disaster, and they proved it. We got to see it in short order time, and it's funny how the mayor finally shut it down when they went to her house. Oh, not so funny when they're in your house, but when they're wrecking everyone's businesses and ruining, a small part of your city, yeah, that's okay because you're away from it. And that's the thing, man. They don't care about this chaos. They're not there. But here is just the freaking, what a bombshell. And then, this is about the same time. I think Jeffrey Epstein was arrested on July 6th of last year. And here we go again. God, I wish they should put a freaking live feed in her jail cell. But there are a lot of scared people right now. And there are lots of pictures with these two, with everyone on earth. And again, yes, there are pictures with Trump, and there are pictures with lots of different people. And of course, they injected themselves. That's how a honeypot works. These guys are in Palm Beach. They try to inject themselves into everyone's lives. So that's not saying everyone who's pictured with them is necessarily bad. But when you look back, none of them check out. Like anyone you go to look back on with Jeffrey Epstein, it turns up bad stuff. Like here's Bill Gates met with Jeffrey Epstein many times despite his past. So here it is that they're saying Bill Gates told the Wall Street Journal, I didn't have any business relationship or friendship with him. Here's the New York Times of all papers debunking that. It says, in fact, beginning in 2011, Mr. Gates met with Epstein on numerous occasions, including at least 3 times at Mr. Epstein's palatial Manhattan townhouse, and at least once staying late into the night, according to interviews with more than a dozen people familiar with the relationship, as well as documents reviewed by the New York Times. So this is saying that employees of the Gates Foundation also paid multiple visits to Epstein's mansion, that Epstein spoke with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and J.P. Morgan Chase about a proposed multi-billion-dollar charitable fund. And so here it is, Gates says that he regrets meeting him and recognizes it was an error in judgment to do so. Well, okay, so here he is, though, meeting with him in 2011. This is after Gates got pinched for everything. But I don't see anyone slamming Bill Gates. Everyone on Twitter is trying to turn this on Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the only one that checks out of all of them. You look back on Clinton. He's been on the flight logs a million times. He has nothing but good interactions with Jeffrey Epstein. You look back on all these people, they have either a friendship or totally good relationships with Jeffrey Epstein, right? Except Donald Trump. I mean, he's literally like the only person who actually has a history of going after Jeffrey Epstein. So that's got to count for something. That has to count for something. I even saw a tweet. I wish I saved it. Saw a tweet yesterday saying that Trump supporters, if Clinton supporters found out that Clinton was doing bad things with Epstein, that they would reject Clinton. But if Trump supporters found out he was doing bad things with Epstein, they would reject the report. Which was just the most ironic thing of all time because, again, when you look into it, Clinton comes off looking horrible, looking completely involved. He's implicated by all these women. He's friggin', and what are they doing? No one's rejecting Clinton. Bill Clinton, is still Bill Clinton. But Donald Trump actually does come off exonerated, and they're rejecting those reports. So that was like literally the most ironic thing I ever read in my life. And here, I'll go through them real quick. And I've gone over them in videos in the past, but I'll go over them again in a minute, just because I feel like it's important now to go through it. And, people should see that the news is fake. This isn't just no, man, we don't think it's Trump. Like, no, man, he's literally the only one on paper to go after this guy. The only person to go after him. And we're talking about monsters here. I mean, here's a woman that just came out, and she's claiming that Ghislaine Maxwell raped her 20 to 30 times, and she's willing to testify that she's just as evil as Jeffrey Epstein. Like I was saying, I think she might have even been worse. And now, so here it is. A woman that claims Ghislaine Maxwell raped her dozens of times, beginning when she was just 14 years old, says she's willing to take the stand and testify against Jeffrey Epstein's ex-girlfriend. In exclusive with Fox News, Jane Doe and wishes to protect her identity. Well, she's not going to be able to if she testifies. See, sometimes I don't like these, these sourceless things. But, well, if she does, she's going to have to give her identity or, whatever. It'll be a matter of court record. So that's a good sign that says she's willing to take the stand. It says that Maxwell sexually abused her beginning in 1991 in Florida. It says the abuse continued until she was 16. So it's taking a 14-year-old and raping her until over and over and over until she's 16. That's horrendous. These are the people we're dealing with here. And, these are the people that QAnon, whether some of you like, if some of you are, on the left watching this right now, I know you don't like QAnon, but QAnon has been telling us over and over about these people since back in 2017, all through 2018, and all through 2019 until he finally was arrested like he said he was going to be arrested. The Q Post, they said they were going after these people straight up. So you should at least be happy about that. And then there's things like this. Here's back in December 17th. First indictment unsealed will trigger mass population awakening. First arrest will verify action and confirm future direction. They will fight, but you are ready. Marker number 9. So at the time, marker number 9 kind of really it really made no sense. But then, just here in May, this post was made. Flynn DOJ dismissal week 1. Now that happened on the 7th. So they're saying that's during week 1. FISA unmasked D-class public select dates week 2. Class 199 week 3. You are here. It's May 17th. So that would be the beginning of week 3. Flynn was, they asked them to dismiss it here. That's week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Week 9, July 2nd, is when Ghislaine Maxwell was just arrested. July 2nd in week 9. First indictment will trigger mass population awakening. And what are you doing? Again, everyone on both sides is posting about it. People on the left are posting with desperately hoping this is going to take down Trump. But they're in for a rude awakening because, like I said, he's the only one that checks out. And I'm about to go through it right now. This is not hyperbole. This is written fact, which, you should be happy. Shouldn't you be happy that Donald Trump is turning out not to be the absolute monster they made him out to be? All right, for one, you have this book, Fire and Fury, which, was a complete freaking hit piece on him. But there is a little piece of information that came out of it where the author, Michael Wolff, he claims to have known them all. And then at one point in there, he says that Trump outed Epstein to the police and helped launch the 2005 criminal probe. So Trump is the start of Epstein's problems right here. Now, of course, this is how the fake news works, right? Just look how long this article is. All this is about a real estate deal that went down in 2004, where Epstein was looking at a place and Trump bought it from under him, which he probably didn't want this monster freaking moving there. But either way, so this is all, Trump's so evil, he took this from Epstein. And then, if you come right here, it says, Trump helped usher in the PBCSO investigation into exposing Epstein's secrets. One sentence. All of this is about a real estate deal. 100 sentences about a real estate deal. But Trump outing Epstein as a pedophile in 2005, such a huge, awesome thing, is one single quick sentence, and then they go back onto this real estate deal. Now, if you go to the Palm Beach Post in July 26, 2006, you'll see that they did, in fact, launch an investigation on Jeffrey Epstein. After a long probe, billionaire faces solicitation charges. Palm Beach billionaire Jeffrey Epstein was paid to have underage girls and young women brought to his house where he received massages and sometimes sex, according to an investigation by the Palm Beach Police Department. Palm Beach police spent months sifting through Epstein's trash and watching his waterfront home and Palm Beach International Airport to keep tabs on the private jet. An indictment charging Epstein, 53, was unsealed Monday, charging him with 1 count of felony solicitation of prostitution. So now we know this was put in motion by Trump. No one else has that. No one else has that to fall back on. This is long before any presidential run. I mean, GW was literally only 2 months into his second term. Barack Obama was years away from even running at this point. That's how long ago this was. Where Donald Trump outed Epstein to the police as a freaking pedophile monster. None of them have anything even like that to fall back on. That's huge. That's why when we say, I don't know, Trump's the one that seems to come out looking good, because he has a past. Again, this is before anything. This isn't like them trying to backtrack now that everything's out in the open. This is long before any of us ever even knew Jeffrey Epstein existed in March of 2005. Long before that. Okay? Then, to boot, he actually barred Jeffrey Epstein, banned him from Mar-a-Lago, according to court docs, okay? So he added him as a pedophile to the police, banned him from Mar-a-Lago, again, only about a year or two into friggin' Bush's second term, just for a gauge of time of how long ago this was, all right? So that is huge. I mean, that is freaking huge. Then you have Bradley Edwards says that Donald Trump was the only one to help him in 2009. He is an attorney who represented the victims of billionaire Jeffrey Epstein's sexual assault, said that in 2009, the only person that helped him was then citizen Donald Trump. Prosecuting attorney Bradley Edwards was interviewed in December 2018 in Palm Beach, Florida, shortly after settling a court case he had won with billionaire Jeffrey Epstein. So, after the settlement was announced, Attorney Edwards was interviewed outside the courthouse. He shared much about the case and answered the interviewer's questions about whether Donald Trump was somehow related to the case, since Epstein was reportedly a friend of Trump. And at the 5-minute mark, he added, all right, here's the question from the reporter. Our current president has had relationships with Epstein in the past, and there are those, Katie Johnson and maybe other victims, who have accused Trump of being involved in things like this. In my experience, Trump supporters will not listen to anything along those lines. Obviously, we're not in the court of law right now, but are those claims, although that case was dropped, it was dropped before it went to court. In your opinion, as a lawyer, in your experience, is there anything you could say to the validity of those claims and whether there will be anything more of that? Nothing at all. The only thing I can say about President Trump is that he is the only person who in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I want to talk to them, is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave, and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and helped us. Okay? He said, so we didn't have to take a deposition of him in 2009. So that's 2005, he outs him to Palm Beach authorities as having sex with a 14-year-old. 2006, he bans him from Mar-a-Lago. And in 2009, he helps the prosecution by giving them all the information that he has on Epstein to help them try and get a conviction against this monster. And then you have this, Virginia Giuffre's deposition. So first in this deposition, they're asking her about this interview she had, and they have some different things checked off. One of the things they have checked was, quote, Donald Trump was also a good friend of Jeffrey's. He didn't partake in any sex with any of us, but he flirted with me. He'd laugh and tell Jeffrey, you've got the life. All right, so this is something that was written down that they're asking her about. So she says that that was inaccurate. And they ask her, okay, what's inaccurate about the last statement on that page? Donald Trump was also a good friend of Jeffrey's. That part is true. She then quotes, he didn't partake in any of the sex with any of us, but he flirted with me. And he says, and she says, it's true that he didn't partake in any sex with us, but it's not true that he flirted with me. Donald Trump never flirted with me. The next sentence is, he'd laugh and tell Jeffrey, you've got the life. I never said that to her. So this is them. This is fake news spinning things. And so this is in her deposition. She says that none of that is true. And now they ask her, when you say he didn't partake in any sex with any of us, who is us? Girls. Just. How do you know who Donald Trump had sex with? Oh, I didn't physically see him have sex with any of the girls, so I can't say who he had sex with in his whole life or not. But I just know it wasn't with me and it wasn't with the other girls. So now they're pressing her because, of course, they want dirt on this guy. It says, And who were the other girls that you were with in Donald Trump's presence? None. There, I worked for Donald Trump and I met him probably a few times. When have you met him? At Mar-a-Lago. My dad and him, I wouldn't say they were friends, but my dad knew him and they would talk all the time. Well, not all the time, but when they saw each other. Have you ever been in Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein's presence with one another? No. She never even seen them together. So they ask then, what is the basis for your statement that Donald Trump is a good friend of Jeffrey's? Jeffrey told me that Donald Trump is a good friend of his, but you've never observed them together? No, not that I can actually remember. I mean, not off the top of my head, no. When did Donald Trump flirt with you? She just said he didn't. He didn't. That's what's inaccurate. Did you ever see Donald Trump at Jeffrey's home? No, not that I can remember. On his island? No, not that I can remember. In New Mexico? No, not that I can remember. In New York? Not that I can remember. All right. So the only basis to her on them being good friends is because Jeffrey said so. She never saw them together. According to Virginia Giuffre, Donald Trump was not involved with any of this crap. He never flirted with her, and it's all freaking lies. All right, so you got that. He outed him in 2005 to the Palm Beach authorities. He banned them from Mar-a-Lago in 2006. He helped the prosecution with as much information as he could possibly get that they said, quote, did help in 2009. And here's Virginia Giuffre, the friggin' bombshell, saying that Donald Trump had nothing to do with this. So he is the only one. I mean, so, I'm sorry. You guys are trying to pin this on Donald Trump. This guy, you should be happy. If you really genuinely hate Jeffrey Epstein, you should be elated. Like, holy crap, look at this guy. He was actually going in. This is the one guy who was going after him for 15 freaking years. He's been going after this guy. And then once he gets in office, he starts doing the Q drops, Here you go, November 11th, 2017. So just for a gauge in time with this is about a month after the Las Vegas shooting. So think about the Las Vegas shooting. Did you know who Epstein was then? Because we did. Because Donald Trump, for all intents and purposes, whether he's the guy, one of the people signing off on these posts for sure. So what is a cult? What is Epstein Island? What's a temple? What occurs in a temple? Worship? Why is it on top of a mountain? How many levels exist below? What's the significance of the colors and design? This dude put us on a quest to out this guy in 2017. All right, so that's 2005, 2006, 2009, the interview with Giuffre, and then here's 2017. Trying to get everyone to realize that this guy is a monster and a freaking cult member who's doing this crazy worship crap and pedophile crap on his island. Here's a picture of Virginia right here with Bill Clinton on Epstein's plane. Here he's pointing out how Epstein was spending $29 million to bury the tunnels underneath his Epstein Island. Problem? All right, it goes on and on. I mean, this is a steady eye on Jeffrey Epstein this whole time, while you guys have been asleep and on Twitter being like, oh, we hate Donald Trump, and then finally the Epstein stuff happened in 2019. Now you all start pretending like you care about Epstein. When we've been going after Epstein and digging on this guy ever since friggin' 2017, all through 2018. Look at this, one thing after another. Right? And just talking about the human trafficking networks and all the friggin' thing and how they're going after and closing all of them. And just Epstein is so much more than Epstein, but Epstein's been one of the main targets, okay? And this is for 3 straight years now. So yeah, we're all excited about this. And you're trying to pin it on Trump is pathetic. This guy has the only good track record when it comes to it, okay? The only one that checks out. Not only does he check out, but none of this would be happening to Jeffrey Epstein. If just millions of people follow these. Now, hundreds of millions of people, you could probably 1 billion people keep tabs on QAnon. But starting from back in 2017, you had millions to tens of millions to hundreds of millions all this time as it grew. All right, he caused that. Donald Trump caused that. Donald Trump is the reason Jeffrey Epstein was arrested last summer. Unfortunately, I think that they were going to use that as a big bargaining chip, and that was why he was taken out. Or, yeah, I still think he might be alive. I think they might have broke him out, to be honest. But I think that was a big chip. He was the big reason, though, that this guy, for all intents and purposes, his operation is shut down. Whether they did kill him or whether they broke him out, there's nothing going on the island anymore, nothing in his houses. This guy is going to have to leave. If he's out, he's going to have to live in secret, or he is dead. Either way, operation shut down because of Donald Trump, who's been trying to shut it down for 15 years. He finally succeeded by weaponizing all of us and telling us a lot more than we could have ever imagined with all this stuff. And he hasn't stopped. And now his girlfriend Ghislaine is on the hot seat, okay? And just like, again, another one. He had told us right off the bat about Harvey Weinstein and all that stuff. Harvey Weinstein is now in jail. These guys, they're all going down. And this is huge. I mean, look at this list he posted. Look at the friggin' names. I mean, well, you know, Woody Allen's a pervert. Will Ferrell turned out to be a psycho. And it's funny how all of these names, if you just go through every one, you know, I'll leave it up here. You can pause it and read them. They all have been talking crap on Donald Trump for 3 years, long before any of their names were mentioned or any of this came out, but long before they even knew any of us were looking into Epstein in 2017. These have all independently came out and they just had to slam Trump. They had to slam Trump. Well, I hope it's starting to make sense now. Because this is just, oh man, what great news because this is just, she's one links to everything, and all these people have to be shaking in their boots. And it's just, I mean, Hollywood's been turning on everyone on the left. They've been imploding this whole time as it is, you know. But either way, it is a freaking good week for justice and a good week for monsters being, at least, you know, I guess she's just in custody right now, so it doesn't mean she's going to be definitely convicted of anything, you know, fingers crossed. But it is at least an eye-opener at the moment where everyone's getting quite the little re-lesson of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and what freaking monsters they all were. So, you know, great news, and I hope you guys have an awesome 4th of July tomorrow. Where we go one, we go all.